Welcome, welcome. I'm Marcy Billen, and I am your guide for all things Oklahoma and Oklahoma real estate adjacent. So, this is my monthly show, and tonight we do have a guest on, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with him. Lots of Tulsa versus Oklahoma City chatter. So, before we get started, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that as well. And if you haven't joined my email newsletter list, I would love if you did that also. You're going to find the link to do that in the description. So, as you may have guessed, I am a realtor and my guest is also a realtor. So, let's get started. Hey, John.
Hey, Marcy, how's it going, everybody
I,
that's in the
yep,
universe out there?
in the universe, in the YouTube universe.
That's it.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, you live in Tulsa, right?
I do.
Awesome. And you have lived in Austin as well.
I spent 25 years in Austin before moving up here in 2021. I grew up here as a kid,
Okay.
and
Okay.
yeah, I was born in Dallas, and we moved up here at a young age, and in fact, we moved up here in the early 70s with the whole music scene. My mom married the pedal steel guitarist for Hank Thompson, real famous
Okay.
honky tonk country musician. And Hank taught me how to
Okay.
ride a horse, like the
All
most
right.
Tulsa, Oklahoma thing ever.
That
And
is.
yeah, I grew up here. I was in the first, or well, I was the first group of kids to ever go to Metro Christian Academy here in Tulsa. But
Mhm.
I was the second graduating class, and then
Okay.
after a little tenure in Stillwater, graduating
Mm.
there, I went off to the Peace Corps in West Africa, and
Okay.
then moved back and quickly jettisoned down to Austin, where I spent 25 years there. So
Okay. All right. Great. So then that's, I mean, quite a like roundabout way to get back to Tulsa, right?
yeah, yeah, via West Africa.
Via West Africa. I get that. Yeah. I it's been a little time after college overseas also. So that's funny. And it's funny that you say that a guy named Hank taught you how to ride a horse. I learned to ride a horse on a horse named Hank.
I love that. Everyone should have a horse named Hank. That's a great horse
Everyone.
name.
Yes, and he was also I also my
And
guitar
glasses.
teacher was named Hank also.
Also a good name. Hank
Yep.
Williams, Hank Thompson, Hank Jr.
There you go. Absolutely. Well, cool. Okay, so now you're working as a real estate agent in Tulsa.
Yes, my mom has been a realtor for 51 years here in
Okay.
Tulsa. So I grew up in the business.
Mm-hmm.
When she started in 74, the first year that women could have a bank account on their own, which seems
Nice.
crazy to me.
Yes.
I remember riding around in a little Volkswagen Bug with her while she knocked doors. And I'd sit there with my little Coleco football game, my little handheld computer game, and comic books. And
Okay.
she was out there doing it the old school way, just knocking doors and meeting people. And to this day, she's still doing business with them. But yeah,
Oh
I
wow.
grew up in that business, and then came back here, and it just felt like a very natural fit
Okay.
to do that now. I spent 25 years in construction in
Oh, okay.
Austin, and so it seemed
Okay.
like a good segue into real estate.
Yeah. So, oh, I didn't realize that you were in construction before.
I sold heavy construction equipment for the
Okay.
Case Construction Equipment dealership.
Okay.
So yeah, I negotiated a lot of those big excavator dozer deals with people that were building neighborhoods. And
Oh,
so got to see both
which
sides of it, which was a really interesting perspective.
yes, I would say so. Okay. Well, cool. That was a really good introduction. I feel like I have a much better understanding of you now and like your history and how you came to do what you're doing. Like it all kind of makes sense. So, as we're having this conversation, I think it will make sense to everybody else too. So, if you guys in the audience, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I can see them and we will answer them. And we love questions. So, please put your questions in. That will be amazing. Um, let's see. And the first thing, of course, that we want to know is where are you from in the audience? Because, it just helps for us to know. Sometimes we can tell by your usernames and sometimes we cannot. So, yeah, it helps us out a lot. All right. Here we go. So, when did you first realize that there was a Tulsa versus Oklahoma City mindset?
Yeah, well, that was pinging around when I lived here previously. I mentioned I went to Stillwater, so I was an Oklahoma State guy, and it seemed
Yeah.
like my friends in Tulsa were either Oklahoma State or TU, although a bunch of them went to OU. And then Oklahoma City feels real OU centric. So I kind of felt that battle with the college
Okay.
rivalry thing.
Yeah.
And then since I've been back and in the real estate side of things, it does feel even more so because there's industries that seem like they kind of draw a certain segment to Oklahoma City versus Tulsa, and even lifestyle. There's
Oh,
some
okay.
differences. So,
Like what?
well, so I see like if you're, my wife, in fact, worked for the state of Oklahoma for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and her job was actually based in Oklahoma City. And for the first several years we were back here, she worked remotely like she had in Texas for many years.
Yeah.
And then there was a call back to the office. Nobody's going to get to home office anymore. And so when that occurred, fortunately by then my real estate career had kind of gotten going enough that we didn't really need that second income.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And so she just, because otherwise she'd have to drive back and forth to Oklahoma City. That was not a fun daily commute for her.
No.
So yeah, so then we ended up having doing that. But I guess to your question, I think government work.
Mm.
It seems like the energy sector, although that's happening here, it seems like it's more vibrant in Oklahoma City.
Mm. Yeah.
Whereas here, I see a lot of architects. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like everybody I know is a real estate agent. Uh, we
Me
have
too.
we have a large, film community here, which is really growing. I'm really excited. I think it's the 23rd of this month. FX's new series, The Lowdown with Ethan Hawke, is
Oh.
going to be airing, and that was Sterling Harjo made a cool comment. He said Res Dogs was like his love story to Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
but The Lowdown is his love story to Tulsa. So I'm
Oh,
really
okay.
looking forward to seeing that air out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's just a very diverse economy here.
Yeah. No, I definitely see that. I mean, growing up, because I grew up in Claremore, right? So I lived in Claremore, and from the late '80s when I was born, and
When I graduated college, thanks, Marcy.
right, all the way up until 2007, and I just realized the other day that I have been in Norman, for 18 years, so just as long as I was in
Oh, wow.
Claremore. So really, I feel very Normanite now, like that's what they call us, as Normanites. I didn't go to high school here, so that's a different kind of from Norman, but I was like, man, I'm really from Norman now. Like that's exciting.
That's cool. Yeah, I definitely feel, even though I've been back here 4 years and I lived in Austin 25 years of my adult life,
Hmm.
I already feel like a Tulsan. I'm very plugged into the community here
Right.
and just feel like I've been here forever.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, growing up in Tulsa, like my dad was in the oil industry, secondary, so like making stuff for refineries. And I like I worked for him one summer, or no, it was during Christmas break in college, and I was like, I don't want to do this. This is boring.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, that's why I'm not a lawyer. I clerked for a lawyer friend of mine. He
yeah.
did me that he did me that big favor when I was in college,
Right.
and I was like, "Oh man, I don't want to do
I
this."
don't want to, please don't make me.
Yeah,
It was
so
so bad.
I've been in
Um,
sales.
Yeah, but that is like the big thing I remember. I had a friend who her dad worked for American Airlines, and that was I feel like that a lot of kids from my class, their parents worked for American Airlines. Um and then like other things in Tulsa, like I don't really remember. The main thing I remember about Tulsa is that there wasn't a lot. And downtown was pretty terrifying. And now, whenever I go, it's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Well, that's another whole industry that's very
Yeah.
significant to Tulsa. I didn't mention, which is aviation.
Yes.
We're a real big aviation, and further beyond American and some of that stuff. The ancillary businesses of making things for planes. I've recently been working with someone whose husband works for the Department of Defense in aviation. They're based out of Tulsa. I'm like, oh wow, that's
Oh,
cool. I think they came here through
yeah.
the remote Tulsa program.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. We'll we'll get I feel like we'll return back to the remote Tulsa program a decent amount, but we'll see.
Yeah, good. And yeah, to
Yeah.
your point about downtown, that is
Mm.
so true. It was a ghost land when I
Yeah.
left. In fact, it was just like they boarded up the windows at 5 and everyone raced
Mhm.
out of downtown. And there were
I
really a handful of key people, Mary Beth Babcock, of now Buck Adams. At the time, it was, well, gosh, Buck Adams, Route 66 Collective.
mm.
She's like the queen of the Meadow Gold District now, but she had a business there called Dwelling Spaces. And then
Okay.
Elliot Nelson opened up his McNally's Pub downtown. And it
McNally's.
felt
Yes.
like after those two things kind of started happening, the floodgates opened. Everything
Good.
just started. It's like amazing how you get those right entrepreneurs in the right place at the right time. Everything else just explodes
Yeah.
out of that.
Yeah, that I mean, it's like a to me a very well, I don't know how similar, but like that you have to have one key thing in place, right? So for Oklahoma City, that thing we all know was the Thunder, right?
Right.
And what's crazy is they were trying to get a hockey team. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, we can just get a hockey team. Like that would probably be pretty perfect." And, I didn't know that they were trying to do that. Um, but to have the Thunder, which I love how they got it. The whole story is
I
hysterical.
don't guess I know the story. I just know they're like the reigning champions. They're the team to beat.
Yeah, they're reigning champions, but they kind of stole the Thunder from
Oh,
Seattle.
nice pun. I see how you did that. They stole Seattle's thunder.
They did. They did. Of course, it wasn't called that. I can't remember what they were called. So if you guys know, drop it in the comments. I don't remember. It's all outlined in the book Boomtown. I don't know if you've read that one. Um, but he tells so it's really cool in that book because he tells the story of the Thunder and the story of Oklahoma City like in concert. So like one chapter is about the Thunder, then the next chapter is about the history of Oklahoma City, and it goes back and forth.
Hmm.
So it's really cool to like see how everything kind of plays out and Oklahoma City bombing and all that stuff. So I think it's pretty awesome. But yeah, the Thunder was what we had to have in place in Oklahoma City to have a thriving downtown because ours it smelled so bad. Because of the river and they just needed to clean
Hmm.
up the river, which they did. But the Thunder has just brought so much money, and now they're building the new arena for them to play in. So yeah, it's
That's the
pretty.
thing we're missing up here, and I've always hoped maybe a pro football team would come in,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, we've gone more the kind of the heavy culture direction. So we've now dammed up the Arkansas River, and we
Yeah.
have this John Zink Lake, which is adjacent
Yes.
to the gathering place.
Right.
George Kaiser's public-private funded
Yeah.
gosh, I think it was a $500 million
I know.
park.
Wild. Yeah.
Nuts. And then we've got the Woody Guthrie Center, the Bob Dylan Center,
Yes.
the OK Pop, nearly ready for opening, the OK Pop Museum.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's kind of
Yeah.
gone all this direction rather
Mm-hmm.
than sports.
Right. Yeah. Which I mean is all really awesome too. Like I do all that stuff and go to all of it. So I think it's really fun. But Sonoma Sonoma Mona wanted to say hello. She dropped in the comments that she was from Austin. So
Might
that's
she
cool.
be a
Are you
friend of
moving?
mine? I know a couple people down there.
So
I'll tell you that's another thing I've had some success with is reaching out to my friends that are in Austin and other cities
hmm
I've made over the years. Not only moving here, friends of mine that are moving here, but investing here that see,
yeah.
Oklahoma's a great investment opportunity.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I get a lot of inquiries about investing in Oklahoma, and that's a whole man. It's a can of worms for sure, and it just depends on like how comfortable you are with like investing from out of state and all those fun things. So yeah.
Yes.
So so you're technically not a transplant, but you lived in Austin for a long time. So do you feel like did people treat you differently when they found out you were from Austin?
Uh, no, usually what I hear is, "Oh man, Austin's so cool," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, it was. That's kind of why I left.
Right.
It's not the Austin I moved to anymore." And I'll tell you, especially my wife, who's from rural Ohio, and she lived in Ohio
Oh.
for or in Austin as long as I did,
Mhm.
and it was really she was the driving force in us moving back. We
Oh, okay.
were increasingly frustrated with the traffic, the
Mhm.
overgrowth, the just too much of everything in Austin.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's like
Yeah.
one
Fun.
thing for a place to visit versus a place to live.
Mhm.
But one day we were driving back to Tulsa to see my mom, and she was like, "Why are we not just living in Tulsa?" And I was like, that's kind of a good question. So we came back, and one of the things that she's pointed out, and I had forgotten, and that's just how friendly. And I don't think it's unique to Tulsa. I think it's an Oklahoma thing. Just how friendly people are. Everyone
Yeah.
really takes the time to visit with you. They don't feel like they're racing off to something else.
Mhm.
And that was the thing in Austin. It increasingly was having this fast-paced San Jose kind of vibe, and it was just like, everything was moving really quick and shut up and get out of my way, you know,
Yep.
and it just
Yep.
felt a little colder.
Yeah. I definitely feel that whenever I go to Austin because I go a lot. Like, have I been to Austin twice already this year? Maybe just once, and I have two more times to go before the end of the year. So always an
Nice.
interesting time. Very
It
different.
is. Yes, it
I hate
is.
that I have to pay for parking. It pisses me off. Like to
Yeah.
have to go to a hotel and have to pay for parking. So I'm always hunting for hotels where I don't have to pay.
Well, and I'll put some perspective on the traffic situation. So we lived,
Hmm.
if anyone's familiar with Austin, which it sounds like you are, we lived just on the north side of the campus. And it would
Okay.
take us about 45 minutes to get in our car, get downtown, park, and get into whatever we were going to.
That's
And
that's all very
yeah,
close
it's
together.
now, you know, honestly, you probably could ride your bike faster.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the traffic is insane there.
Yep.
And so that was definitely a thing that pinged us. Like I tease my mom all the time because she lives a little bit in South Tulsa. And so I'm always like, I
Mm.
wonder if Southwest has a shuttle flight that can get me out there, Like she's
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? It's like an 8-minute drive. But yeah, no, that kind of thing is so great here. You take side
Yeah.
streets everywhere. You're hardly ever on a highway unless you're really
Yeah.
trying to head out to a suburb or something.
Yeah.
I
I
take
mean,
all the side
even whenever
streets.
you are on one, and I actually had this up, Mona says that it makes her really mad too, that everything is fee driven. It's like I'm paying to sleep here. Why can't my
Yeah.
car sleep here? I don't get this. This is
Yes.
very frustrating.
Yes. You pay for that busy road that you're driving on to get there, and then you have to pay to park.
Yeah. Yeah. But I have, let's see, I have the live traffic up for, on Google Maps.
Yes.
Let's see. And so we can look at it. Let's see. I want to do this. Share screen. Window. Yes. Okay. Here we go.
Hmm.
So here, if we zoom in, like we can see like in Tulsa, where the traffic is flowing, which
Does
there's,
that all green mean it's smooth?
it's all smooth.
when
Besi-
we first it was so funny when we were first coming up here and having this conversation. We were driving into town and hitting Tulsa right at 5 o'clock rush hour on 75, rolling into Tulsa. And Meredith was looking around. She goes, "Is this 5 o'clock rush hour?" I was like,
yeah,
"Yeah, pretty much."
it is. Yeah, the
Kind of
only
quiet.
red is at where they're doing that construction at Peoria, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, we look at ugh, come on. We look at Oklahoma City It's usually a little worse. It's a little bit bigger. There's just a little bit though, not very much. And then we go look at Dallas. Look at how fun that looks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we've
Gross.
gotten to where when we drive to Austin, we actually go out way wide through the Ouachita Mountains and go down around Palestine and then cut
Oh
in
yeah.
just north of Waco. It's like such a prettier drive, and
It
there's
is.
no one
That's a
on that
much better
route.
drive. I know I don't have a choice of how I drive to Austin, really. I mean, I guess I do, but like it would add on so much more time. I'm not going to do that.
Yes, right.
So, yeah, you can see how much red we have down here in Austin um,
Good
for
boy.
their traffic right now.
Wow.
And it's
Yeah.
6:30. So, gross.
Wow.
Ugh.
Yep. That
Oh,
that
that's
red that red line where the A is on Austin is exactly the commute I was talking about. I lived
Oh, yeah.
just right there and would try to get downtown, and it was just almost
Yeah,
impossible.
getting downtown is not fun for sure. I like to fly. I prefer flying to Austin. Everyone thinks I'm nuts, but like that stretch of I-35 between Oklahoma City and Austin is some of the most dangerous in the country for roads,
Yes, it
and
is.
that just stresses me out. So I don't
Well, in
prefer
Tulsa,
that.
we're getting a lot of great nonstop flights right now, but one
Yeah.
of them that's been added is a daily flight to Austin.
Uh-huh.
It's usually plus or minus $100
Yep.
each way, so it's
Yep.
just a super easy run down, visit your friends kind of thing. The hard part's carving out the time from a busy real estate schedule to go
I
do that,
know.
but other
Yes.
than that, it's easy as far as logistics.
Yep. Absolutely. Um, okay. So you are a preservationist, I understand.
I am, yeah. I'm the North Maple Ridge representative to the Preservation Commission here.
Okay.
And so part of the reason, and I'm also a docent with the Tulsa Foundation for Architecture, where our purpose is to educate the public about our historical buildings downtown and around town,
Mm-hmm.
historical, and just with better education of why we want to save these buildings in the first place,
Yeah.
that kind of spreads. When I was living in Austin, it was really sad because property taxes were growing so fast in these charming little
Mm.
neighborhoods for a wide variety of reasons that many
Mhm.
developers would come in and buy a cool little 1940s built home post World War II, and they'd knock them
Yeah.
down, and then they'd
Yep.
build two giant two-story duplexes
Mhm.
facing each, side or something like that, or sometimes just front and back, unit A and B,
Mhm.
and white stucco with black windows. I'm sure you've seen the sort, and
Oh yeah.
we have that here. We have some neighborhoods that have resisted,
Yeah.
like our Brookside neighborhood, which is one of my favorite, and it
Yeah, it's
just makes me
beautiful.
sick to go through there and see these little 2-1 charming bungalows that have been torn down and these big monsters that don't really fit the lot built there. I have no
Right.
problem with those homes. I just hate seeing the old ones go because once they're gone, they never come back.
Yeah, you can't get those back.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and so we all talk about affordability being a concern. Well, I think preservation is a way to preserve affordability too, because if I'm
Mhm.
tearing down what would have been a $250,000 great
Yes.
starter home, and I'm building a $1.5 million monster, well,
Mhm.
I've forever cut people out that could really afford that place.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that. I mean, we have it happening a lot close to campus here in Norman. And I haven't noticed it too much in Oklahoma City, but I know they do it in Nichols Hills, which Nichols Hills is like
Oh,
its own very
oh gosh,
strange.
yes. But
Yes.
Nichols Hills is a beautiful neighborhood, and I hate hearing that those some of those are getting torn
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of them. And I mean, maybe they're unsavable. Like I don't know. But cuz there are, I don't know. But I
I
am
will tell you
happy.
they are savable. Okay, you're talking to a preservationist. The wood in those homes, it's a better wood. It's old growth wood. They don't make
Yep.
homes out of that anymore. A 2x4
Right.
was a real 2x4. Everything was done
Mhm.
differently. So one of a common thing comes to me all the time in the Preservation Commission is, well, we want to take all our windows out and update our windows to the latest, newest windows. And we have
Mm.
conversations. Well, those windows that are on your home now that were put in 100 years ago and still
Mm.
functioning are not the same thing as the replacement windows that you're
Mm.
now buying, those are designed to last about 10, 15 years, and then you will
Yep.
replace them. So
Yep.
what we talk about are ways you can get storm windows if you're looking for noise or sound, or excuse me, noise
Mm.
or energy insulation, and you can do them on the outside of the home in an acceptable historical manner. They even have inside storm windows and screens that you can
Hmm.
get that are not even seen from the outside at all. So you totally preserve that outside image that's always been there.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. So in terms of like the architecture in Tulsa and maybe like comparing it to Oklahoma City, like what's the main differences? What's so special about Tulsa and their architecture?
Well, I'm not an expert on Oklahoma City architecture. It seems from an outsider's view, it seems a lot newer, a lot more
Yeah.
kind of cosmopolitan.
Mm.
Um, and uh, Here, I love that we have buildings like the Phil Tower in Philbrook,
Yep.
which I can, or excuse me, Phil Tower and Philcade and the Mid-Continent Center and such like that. I can see those from my front porch, which is
Mm-hmm.
really great. Built by Wade Phillips and some of these great oil barons back in the teens and 20s.
Right.
And you go down and look at them, and they're hand carved. Even in the lobbies, they
Mm.
have these floral kind of decorations up on the ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I talk about on my tour, we go through those almost so quickly in the tour, and you look up and oh wow, that's cool, it's pretty. They'll look at all the flowers. Well, in today's day and age, those are made on mass production lines. But
Yeah.
back then, every single one of those was hand done
Mm.
and unique and individual. So you start looking at them, you go, oh my God, that one's different from that one. They're
Mm-hmm.
all, every one different,
Yeah.
really special.
Yeah. That's cool. So you feel like the architecture is a bit older, like the buildings, everything's a bit older in Tulsa.
Yeah, we do have some modern styles.
Mm-hmm.
One unique building that we have is the Williams Tower, the Bank of Oklahoma
Mm-hmm.
Center, that the or tower that's the oh gosh, I'm going to lose his name now that I'm talking with you, but he was a Japanese architect, and he was the same guy that designed the World Trade Centers in New York,
Right.
the Twin Towers. And so they were designed to be an on scale miniature version. They were going to be a half scale. We were going to have
Mm.
two Twin Towers. And so we got the one done. And then by the time they were completing the first tower in the 80s in Oklahoma, for those of you who weren't yet born, Marcy, we had an oil bust. And so they ran out of dough. And so they said, you know what? Instead of doing a second tower, why don't we build a performing arts center? And that was
Mm.
that architect's first and only. I'm trying to find the non-glare side. Um, that was his first and only performing arts center he
Okay.
ever did. And in fact, right now we're in the process of expanding that. We're going to go through a 3-year expansion on our
Mm-hmm.
Tulsa Performing Arts Center, and it is going to be incredible. I can't
Yeah.
wait to see. And I think Tulsa will yet again be another big cultural draw for
Mm-hmm.
musicals, plays, performing arts that
Yeah.
will want to come to Tulsa because of this center.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, and I feel like, coming to middle America, like, first of all, it's because, like, I'm moving people here. My cat is just about to come into the screen. So
Ah,
here we
nice.
go. She's like, Mom, who are you talking to?
What's shaking, little kitty?
Hey, she's like, oh no,
Oh
who
my
is
God, what a
that?
cutie. She's got your cat looks like my mom has a gray cat or tortoise, but it's got that same kind of smushy face. Oh,
Yes.
so adorable.
She's like, are you ready to play, Mom?
Always.
um, but what I was saying is, like, we have all these people moving from California, first off.
Mhm.
Um, Also some from the East Coast, although I feel like that's a little bit more of a culture shock for people to come from the East Coast to Oklahoma versus the West Coast to Oklahoma. But
Mhm.
they're used to having things, and they know the power of that, and just like how great it is to have a community built around not just work but also pleasure and like having a good life. So I think that that helps a lot, and it makes our cities grow, and it brings in a lot of money.
Right. You're right. They're used to having the stuff to do.
Yeah.
The things they're not used to are having low property taxes,
Yeah.
less traffic.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things that one of my California buyers told me once is like, I've got a whole yard now. I have to like mow. Like
Yes.
they're used to really small
Yeah.
footprints, and so now
Yep.
they're having here, which I think is still kind of small, getting a 1,800 square foot, 2,000 square foot home. They're like, what am I going to do with all this space?
Yeah, you're gonna live in
I'm
it.
like,
It's gonna be great.
exactly. You're going to buy a lot of stuff and fill it up. It's the American dream.
Exactly. Just fill that up. Yeah, I definitely see that with people, the low property taxes, the traffic. And another thing I see with people with the traffic is that they think that the drive is shorter than it is. I think it's perhaps, and maybe you can chime in on this, because living in Austin, like, we are driving down the road at 70 miles an hour. And
Yeah.
yes, it may only take 30 minutes, but that's a long ways. And if you can find something closer, that's usually best than like, oh yeah, no, I
I
don't
think
mind driving an hour. Yeah, you do. You do mind it. Yeah, you're gonna mind it.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know about Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City does feel more spread out in that
Yeah.
regard. And so that's definitely a thing with Tulsa. That's where my mom's giving me grief about the South Tulsa comment is truly okay. So I live at there's a district, an entertainment district here called Sobo or South Boston. It's right at the
Mm-hmm.
corner of 18th and South Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And I live about a block and a half away from that.
Okay.
And so we're walking distance to the Mercury Lounge and
Oh,
all the
okay.
great restaurants there.
Yeah.
We're walking distance to Cherry Street and all the great
Mm-hmm.
restaurants there. We walk to the Brookside neighborhood. We walk to the Gathering Place in the Midland Valley
Wow.
Trail.
Yeah.
So pretty much if it's not within about a 3 to 5 minute drive, it's not on my radar. Isn't that terrible? You have to be a good friend for me to like help you buy a home in Broken Arrow or South Tulsa or Bixby or something like that. I'll do it, but I gotta like you.
Ah, so that's funny that you say that, because today, so I don't have a car right now. My car's in the shop. The air conditioning broke. Cool. So my husband had to go to Yukon, which is a million miles away from Norman, it seems like, and go to a closing. And I went to lunch with a friend, and I went to lunch in downtown Norman, and I live in North Norman, and it's 3 miles, you know, like on the road, like driving to from the restaurant to the house. And I'm a big hiker. I love hiking, and he was like, "Are you going to take an Uber home?" And I was like, "I'm just going to walk." So I walked 3 miles, and
Nice.
it's just that no one walks, like
Yeah.
nobody, and sometimes I wish I lived in downtown Norman so I could walk places, but there really isn't that many places to walk. But, I felt it was funny because I was like, oh, this is totally, totally walkable. It's
Well, 3 miles
not.
is walkable. It's funny. I mean, if you live in Manhattan, you wouldn't think twice about making a walk like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes in other cities, it feels like, oh, I got to get in my car. Californians are famous. If you ever
Mm-hmm.
watch Steve Martin's LA story,
Mm.
they went and get in the car and they drive 3 doors down and then they get out of their car.
Yeah.
It's like,
We do that
they
here.
drive
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Tulsa has a great bikes trail system. We
Yes.
converted our Midland Valley Railroad, which goes
Mm.
right down here by my house, into a paved, lit trail, which
Oh,
connects to all the trails going up Route 66. You can
that's
actually
cool.
take that paved trail all the way up to Bartlesville, all the way
Oh.
south to Mulgee. You can go west to Sand Springs, and then it connects through all these spider trails throughout town. So you
Hmm.
can really jump on your bike and just get anywhere in this town. And I love that. It's a very active
Yeah.
city.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's crazy. I didn't know that had happened. That's really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool. Yeah, I am on the Rails to Trails newsletter somehow.
Love it. Nice.
But I haven't seen that from Tulsa. It's usually like, I don't know. I guess I'm probably on it for Oklahoma City because I try to give people that kind of information. So,
Yeah, that railroad was originally owned by a guy named Josh Cosden, who lived up
mhm.
in Wichita, and he was one of the big oil barons down here. Had a place in New York as well, and so he would take that train into downtown Tulsa. Our downtown train station is another Art
Oh, it's
Deco
so
jewel.
cool. Yes.
And we're in the process of converting that to the Jazz Hall of Fame. They're really doing some great restoration work
Oh, it's cool.
there.
Yeah.
But he would come into town and he would ride in on his own private car on that railroad. And he would have his chauffeur, his barber, his chef, and his
Mm.
valet. And they would all arrive, take him over to the Cosden building, which is now a part of the Mid-Continent Tower, the big one with the green
Yeah, the
top, if
green
you've
top,
ever
yeah.
seen. And so, anyways, blows me away because that was like the railroad just around the corner from me, and now
Mhm.
it's a trail system.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I do love that. I think I saw the signs of what they were like putting into the downtown train station. I was at a restaurant a couple of weeks ago down there, so it's
Cool.
cool. We have a question. Steve asks, how is the bike infrastructure across both cities? Is it safe to commute by bike or is this more for recreation? He's interested in both Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
So, how would you answer that first?
I would definitely check out Rails to Trails to see where, if where you might want to live in Oklahoma City in order to bike places. It's hard for me to say that biking is safe in any city. Like
That's
in Tulsa, and there are protected bike lanes. We don't have very many protected bike lanes here in Oklahoma City or in Norman for that matter. In Tulsa, they're typically protected by other cars, which is fine. It's just strange to park in the
yes,
middle of the street.
right.
But, is it going to be as safe maybe as other cities? Like, I'm not sure how you're going to feel about that. I think it depends on where you're coming from. I have a client who is disabled and he bikes every day and he feels fine with it. I don't know how he feels fine. I'm concerned for him for his
Yeah,
safety, but like, he feels great about it. So, and then I just moved another couple here and they are really excited about the different biking situations and they're doing it for more for recreation. And we are a shoulder season state. I mean, it's hot in the summer. It's very cold and windy and nasty in the winter sometimes. So it just depends on, what you prefer, I guess, is how I would
yeah,
answer that.
that's a very good point. Both the weather situation and then also the fact that biking by commute is a challenge in any city.
Yeah.
In Austin, very bike friendly city. My best friend there, he just turned 55 a couple
Mm-hmm.
of days ago. And in his entire life, he's owned 3 vehicles. He is, and I don't mean like, oh, I had a car for 10 years. He had one vehicle for maybe less than a year, and
Mm-hmm.
some drunk driver ran up into his yard and in their driveway and hit and totaled his car and parked in his driveway,
Oh my God.
right? And he only had it a few months, so that was one of the vehicles. And so same thing, he's none of them he's had more than a couple 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the vast majority of his adult life he just bikes everywhere in
Yeah.
Austin. He'll throw his bike on the bus, so
Okay.
a good public transportation system can help. And Tulsa does have a good public transportation center, and it's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you alluded to, not only the trail system that I talked about, which also runs north and south up the Arkansas River, so you
Mm-hmm.
you can get really from far south Tulsa to downtown
Yeah.
in
That's true.
maybe 20 minutes on the bike.
Mm-hmm.
And then it connects also going up Route 66, which we've recently made an official Route 66 bike route.
Oh,
And
okay.
so that's an official thing that they're trying to expand. I
Mm-hmm.
think trying to get people to be able to ride the whole route via bike, which would be pretty cool.
That's cool. Okay. Yeah. So it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, depends on where you're living. If you
Yeah.
came to town and said, "Hey, John, I'm going to work at this place, and I'd
Yeah.
like to find a cool house where I could bike," I could definitely find that for you, and
Mm-hmm.
and stay in your budget. There's enough homes and neighborhoods around most centers of industry or wherever you might be working that could be a solution that could be found.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about that, the price of housing here for a second then, since we talked about that.
Mhm.
Tell us about the cost of housing in Tulsa.
I mean, it's all perspective. Okay. In Austin, it was not uncommon for me to realize $50,000 in equity growth in a year. So, crazy runaway prices. I
Yeah.
will tell you that my property taxes on my 1,500 square foot home I mentioned earlier, just north of the campus, was $1,000 a month.
Hmm.
A month,
A
12
month.
grand a year.
Holy crap. I
And
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
so that plays into the affordability factor. Now, admittedly, I have a larger home now in a great Maple Ridge. I'm promoting my neighborhood here. My house was built in 1910, and I pay like 4 grand a year here, so it's a third the
Yeah, is a
cost.
third. Yeah.
And I'm in a much better neighborhood in a much better home
Yeah.
for a third the cost. And then if you're talking overall right now, just like looking at this year's numbers, we're seeing like the median price in Tulsa going between 260 to about 295 throughout the
Mm-hmm.
year.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that as very affordable.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tell you also, I've got two homes listed right now for 174.9, and they are just charming as can be. They
Yeah,
are
they
move-in
are.
ready,
Those are
super
really
cute.
cute.
So,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
can find great deals.
Yeah, you can. You can. I know here in it's saying that the median house price, it's hard. Like in Oklahoma City it's 275 right
About
now.
the same.
Yeah, about the same. Usually I see that it's a little bit lower in Tulsa, and sometimes I think it's just because there are more accessible neighborhoods perhaps.
Mm.
And sometimes a little bit more housing and older housing versus some of the new housing that we have here. Um,
Hmm.
but also too, Oklahoma City and Tulsa are super different in the way they take up space. Like Tulsa's very small in terms of like
Right.
land mass compared to
Yeah,
Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City
totally.
is the fourth largest in the country.
Yeah.
It is dumb. Like
Yeah, you could get around by bike in Oklahoma City, but you're
yeah.
probably going to do it in your little area.
You are. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to tell people because it's true. Like Oklahoma City is a bunch of tiny towns smushed together because
Mm.
Oklahoma City was settled in one day and 10,000 people in one day settled in Oklahoma City, where Tulsa is a totally different animal in that regard.
It is, yeah. That's a
Yeah.
fun part of our Art Deco tours we do, where we
Mm.
walk and there's these two photos side by side in one of the tunnels. If you've ever heard of the Tulsa Tunnel tours, I'm
Oh,
one of those
yes.
guys that gives
Yes.
those tours. And so there's a couple of fun side by side photos, and one of them is from 1893, and it
Mhm.
shows Tulsa as what I call the Gunsmoke Tulsa. Dirt roads, wood
Mhm.
buildings, horses at the hitching post.
Yep.
And then you see a picture 13 years later in 1906, and the roads are all paved. There's power lines, brick high rises,
Yeah.
communication, trolley cars, vehicles, and that is the impact that the Glenpool
Yeah.
had when
The
we
Glen
when they went
Pool.
out. Yeah, when they went out and hit that big strike that's still producing today.
Yeah, it's
So it's just
huge.
a tremendous amount of money. I was saying this the other day on one of my tours. Imagine if you had Mark Zuckerberg,
Uh-huh.
Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Warren Buffett all
Mhm.
striking their fortunes within the same year and living within 1 square mile of one another. That's
Mhm.
what happened in Tulsa at the start of the
That's a
20s.
really good description. Yeah.
So it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
you imagine the impact that has on a town's
Yeah.
infrastructure.
Right. Yeah. It's incredible for sure. And that's, we didn't here in Oklahoma City, we didn't have any sort of big boom like that necessarily. Unless you count 2011 when the thunder came.
Yeah,
Like,
that was a boom.
it was a pretty
A
big boom.
thundering boom.
A thundering boom. And yeah, man, I've never like them winning the championship. I seeing people that excited. Like I've been to some soccer games overseas and they get pretty excited, but man, like
Mm.
these people were pumped. I'm not a sports person, so, it was
I
cool, but
I think the one thing both our cities need, and I think, Marcy, you and I are the right people to lobby for this. We need a high-speed train between
Yes.
Tulsa and Oklahoma City where I
Oh.
can throw my bike on there, haul down, go check out the game, ride around, go get some dinner, throw my bike back on, come back up. That would be too cool.
Yeah, I
So let's start
agree.
working on that.
Uh, there are people working on that. I mean,
Good. I want to join the team.
what's crazy is the rail is already there. I don't even care if it's high speed, to be honest with you. Who
Well, I mean,
cares?
it's an hour
Yeah,
driving, right? Hour and a half driving top.
hour
So
and a
by
half. Yeah,
rail, it's really nothing by rail because you don't
yeah,
have to stop or have traffic or anything.
exactly. I was doing a video the other day on some towns like Chickasha and Shawnee, and there was another town I was looking at too. But in their history, they had streetcars all over the
Mhm.
cities. And I was like, what? Where'd
Super
they
cool.
go?
Right. We paved over them. We did the same thing in Tulsa.
We did
I
too
think
here.
those,
Yep.
I think those would have been so cool to have
Oh,
today.
yeah. They paved over. They found the old streetcar lines whenever they redid downtown Oklahoma City. Of course, we have a streetcar now, which would I know they're trying to connect everything. I know they're trying. And I know that it's hard. I know that people fight against it and our car culture is just incredible. But man, would
Hmm.
be so nice. I was Handsome went to a game. Handsome's my husband. He went to a game let's see, probably in February, March, and he was like he didn't want to drive his car cuz it was going to hail that night maybe. And I was like looking up the buses to see if I could take him to downtown Norman and put him on a bus. And I was
Oh,
like,
wow. Like a
that's going to be
Greyhound.
funny if I can do that, but I couldn't.
Oh, love it.
Oh, it would have been awesome. But yeah.
Listen, when I was a kid, that was kind of before Southwest came along and everything. And when I moved up here with my mom, my dad was still in Dallas. My family was still in Dallas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was the Greyhound kid, by
Wow.
myself. Mom would take me down, put me on a bus, a little boy, and I would ride down there. Yeah, you were like so trusting back in those days. And but yeah,
Wow.
I
Riding a
rode that
Greyhound
route
bus?
1,000 times.
Oh no. Oh, I've never ridden a Greyhound, but I'm a little young.
It's you're not missing anything.
But I have flown a lot of places by myself, so okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Um okay, so stereotypes between Tulsans and Oklahoma and people from Oklahoma City, or just stereotypes or thoughts between East and West. I did a video about this. It kind of went a little crazy.
I
People
just saw
were
your East-West video. That was
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, thank you. What are your thoughts about dividing the state East versus West?
Actually, that's the right way to split it. You nailed it. It's the
Oh,
humid, mountainous
yes.
stuff versus kind of the drier, flatter, a lot
Yes.
of oil derricks and stuff, you
Mhm.
know. And but yeah, very, very true. And there does tend to be more of a rancher ag focus in the West versus in the East.
Mhm.
It feels more um, well, I can't say that. There's farmers here too because we
Yeah.
have good dirt, but it just doesn't feel as much that way.
Right.
You can go to some fun towns like we go to the Porter, Oklahoma for the
Mhm.
Porter Peach Festival,
Mhm.
and you'll have communities like that. But when I think of East Oklahoma, I'm thinking of the rolling Ouachita Mountains. I'm thinking
Mhm.
of going into the foothills of the Ozarks,
Mhm.
going up to Tahlequah, floating the river, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Yep, for sure. And I mean, so I grew up on a ranch in Claremore, right? So, I mean, there are ranches. There's not that many. I think they were a lot bigger in the 60s and 70s is how it sort of seems to me. I don't know all the history about it. But I think too, and I've heard people mention this, like you just need less land in
Mm.
the eastern part of Oklahoma because there's more rain.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
so
You need less land to do the same thing.
right,
That's right.
right. Because in western Oklahoma, I mean, parts of it is straight desert. Like,
Yeah, I was a rush chairman for my fraternity in Oklahoma
mm,
City, and so I got to, or in Stillwater, and so I got to
mhm,
drive to all over the state.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite recruits that I brought into my fraternity were in Guyman, and
Oh,
that is a long drive,
it is
and
very long.
it will take you through Slapout, Oklahoma, which if you can probably drive through slap out faster than you can say slap out.
Yep. Yep.
And but it's just flat. It's the western part of Oklahoma is what a lot of people think of Oklahoma being. And when people are
Hmm.
like, "Oh, I'm not sure I'd want to live in Oklahoma because it's just kind of flat," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
parts of it, but
parts of
not
it.
really."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, not much of eastern Oklahoma is very flat for sure because all those mountains. It's literally the transition. It's just like there's places that there's mountains in Kansas, apparently, or mountain-ish, hill-ish places.
Yeah, it's like the pyramid on top of the Bass Pro Shop, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Um, so yes, East versus West. Someone said I didn't mention hillbillies.
Hillbillies? Well, that's more Arkansas.
I know, but no.
Yeah,
Well, because it's really close though. Like
yeah.
because a lot of eastern Oklahoma is very close to Arkansas and is to me that's the culture is like hillbillies in the east and rednecks in the west.
Okay, I'm going to say cultured musicians on the east and rednecks in the west.
So what do the rednecks do if the
Oh,
hillbillies are musicians?
I'm just busting on the west. You're an easy target.
I know. Well, I mean, there's a reason why more people live in the east.
Well, and we do. We love to get lost in the woods
Yeah.
occasionally and just surround ourselves with nature. And one of our favorite places to go, which is just about an hour and a half from our house, is Eureka Springs. Of
Hmm.
course, the city's fun to go into, and we stayed there too. But we really like to go just outside the city to Beaver Lake,
Hmm.
and there's several great little rentals out there, and just trees all around you, views of the lake, and then you're a 10-minute drive into Eureka Springs. But that's just an hour and a half makes it a really easy weekend getaway.
Yeah, it does. It is really close right there. Sometimes I struggle with because I do a lot of exploring. I really like exploring as well. So I'm like, where am I going to go? But then there's like, I can go out to nowhere, Western Oklahoma, and there's nothing there.
Yeah. Well, what I think the Wichita is like Black Mesa and
Yeah.
all that area is really cool. And then I've never been, but it's on my short list to get to Medicine Park. I've heard that's a really great little area to go to.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I don't love the Wichitas personally. A lot of people really like going to hike there, and like, I get it, it's fine. There's no trees, so it's
Right.
hot. It's really hot. I tend to go to Sulphur to hike. That's my spot. So
Mm.
that's the Chickasaw National Recreation Area.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of trees. There's there's springs. There's like 3 or 4 of them. The town really does smell like sulfur because they have sulfur in their springs. They have like one hill that I'll hike up. It's called Bromide. And of course, a lot of the town of Sulphur got destroyed in a tornado last year, unfortunately.
Oh
So like
gosh.
I went a few weeks ago and man, I was like all the old town was gone.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it was a lot
Well,
of stores that I used to go into, yeah.
I love that Wichita Mountain vibe. My favorite park in Texas was the Big Bend, and there's some
Mhm.
trees there, but it's largely that deserty feel that I think the Wichitas have.
Yep, for sure.
And so that's my jam. I love it.
Yeah, I understand. And it is cool to get away from what you're already living in and go to something
Right.
different.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, it's really cool. Um, some of the I one other town that I don't get to very much, but I think is cool is Guthrie.
Oh, yes. I
Mhm.
went to a great, so my wife and I do animal rescue,
Okay, yeah.
and we found a senior lab on the street,
Mhm.
and we took him in. And we have 3 small dogs. They were not jiving with this big guy.
Mm.
And so we looked everywhere to find a rescue. And there's a place there called Horse and Hound Rescue in
Okay.
Guthrie. And we took him down there. They took him in. They were such a great organization. So if you're watching this, somebody donate to them. They're great. But we got just a little glimpse of Guthrie, which was Oklahoma's, of course, first capital. And I
Mhm.
am dying to go back. From a
Yeah.
preservationist standpoint, that
Right.
town is cool.
It's cool. It's a really cool town. Like, I don't go too much because I mean it's like an hour drive for me. And it's all the way through the city, which is not fun. Like if it
Yeah.
was not in the city, I would probably go more. But it's just north of it. But yeah, they like no brick homes, which is strange for
Hmm.
Oklahoma City. We have mostly brick homes. A lot of these homes are at this point 100+ years old. And of course, you know the story of how Oklahoma City became the capital.
I vaguely do, but tell me again.
Well, I don't like know the details, but I just know that they wanted to move it. It was in Guthrie, which made sense at the time because it was Guthrie's closer to like where they were starting settlements. Um and they had like the state seal in the upstairs room of the Capitol building, whatever they were using as a Capitol building, and
Hmm.
some senator went in and stole it in the middle of the night.
That's the part I heard. Yeah. That's pretty Oklahoma thing, right?
Pretty Oklahoma to do
Yeah.
something like that.
Hey, if you want your stuff, nail it down.
Yes, because we will take it, apparently. Whew. Someone the other day, I don't remember who it was, they asked me what a Sooner was.
Hmm.
And I was like, I told him, and I can't remember who it was. And they were like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm serious." Like, yeah. You give people
Yeah.
free land and like those are the hustlers.
I'd still go. You got a land grab somewhere? I'm
Yeah.
flying. Let's get
Those
there.
are the hustlers.
Right.
Yes. So, when you're talking to your friends that still live in Austin,
Mhm.
um and of course clients who are moving here to Oklahoma or to Tulsa or whatever, how do you explain it? Like, how do you characterize the city?
Um, it's especially for folks from Austin that have been there a minute, they really get it. It's
Mm.
the city that I moved to in Austin in 1996.
Mm.
I don't know what the population comparison was to Austin in 96. That'd be
Yeah,
a
not very
curious
big.
thing to question. It's been explosive since then. And Tulsa is growing fast, but it's not growing that fast.
Right.
Tulsa is projected. So right now, Tulsa's sitting right at 1 million people, just over,
Mm.
and in the metroplex, and we're forecasted to have like 58,000 new residents in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty nice growth rate, but it's not like in that same period in Austin, it'd be 200,000,
Right.
and it's just too much. So I tell people, remember all those cool restaurants that you used to love in Austin and now they're closed because they couldn't afford to stay there anymore. And so they knocked them down, they built something else there.
Mhm.
It's just kind of taken that on. Whereas this town feels like it's more the place where when you have the dinner reservation, you can get in. I'd go to South by Southwest when I got to Austin every year, and I'd get the little wristband, and I'd get into everything. And
Mm.
now you can have a badge and not be guaranteed entrance. There'll be huge lines when you get
Oh,
there, even in the
wow.
VIP lines.
Oh.
So it's just so much that it's just not as fun anymore because you can't get into the cool stuff.
Yeah. Man. That makes a lot of sense because that is what I feel whenever I go to Austin. Um, and Tulsa does, it's still like that small town feel. It's very different than Oklahoma City in that I feel like Oklahoma City feels more small town than Tulsa does because it's just bigger. So,
Yeah, and I think Tulsa has that vibe where it's really like neighborhoody,
yeah.
so you tend to kind of hang out. Like, I mean, I'm not joking when I say it's really rare for me to get south of 41st Street or east
Mm.
of about Yale.
Hmm.
That's like my hood. And, I'll get into downtown regularly. But other
Yeah,
than
I can see
that,
that.
I'm within 3 or 4 miles of downtown at any given
Mm.
time.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. Very neighborhoody. Where in here in OKC, it's districts. There's like everything's kind of divided into a district, which tends to be a bit bigger and
Mm,
not walkable as much, depending on which one you're
mm.
in.
Yeah, right.
So yeah. So it looks like the population of Austin in 1996 was 512,000.
Oh, wow. And does it say what it is today?
Today we are at,
Got to be like 2 million, maybe one
yeah,
1.7.
uh, it says only a million.
No, there's well, okay. That's not
The
the
larger
metroplex.
population, so
Yeah,
including the whole metro, is 2.3.
yeah, yeah. So I was
Yeah.
including the metroplex, which includes
Yeah.
like Broken Arrow and Owasso and Bixby and all the surrounding communities. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But so yeah, I
That's
mean,
probably,
wow, I did not realize it was that big. So more than double the size of Tulsa.
yep.
And also, like Tulsa, it's not a spread out city. It's a pretty tight little
Yeah.
landmass in
Yeah.
Austin.
Mhm.
So as compared to, you could probably fit two Austins in one Oklahoma City footprint.
Mhm. Yeah, I know. It's that's what I whenever I'm giving people homes to look at and they're like, cuz I tend to work with a lot of people who want to live on a half an acre or more.
Mm,
And there's a lot of that within Oklahoma City. And you'll even not have city water and have an Oklahoma City address.
wow,
And
that's
I
pretty
tell people
cool.
this, they're like, well, I don't want to live in Oklahoma City. I'm like, this is not Oklahoma City. It's just an address. Like,
Yeah.
there's no part of this that is Oklahoma City. So,
I love that. That's really cool. Honestly, that's a good difference. I mean, Tulsa has some neighborhoods where you'll get
mhm.
half acre lots, but we have a lot that are a quarter acre and less,
Yeah.
because they were built so long ago,
Hmm.
that they just were kind of not really row homes.
Yeah.
Like I live in a little craftsman,
Hmm.
built in 1910, and I'm, let's see, one, two, four houses up the street from a 6,000 square foot home on a half acre.
Yeah.
You know, so you've got them, but they're not as heavily as neighborhoods like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And ours are, 1970s and later. Um, yeah. Farmhouses are the older ones, and then the new ones are all brand new build neighborhoods or starting in the late 90s in that first boom. Um, yeah. And a lot
Mm.
of, just like Tulsa, like a lot of our small towns around have really busted at the seams. So it's, yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
lot
we've
different.
seen that too. Like Bixby, Jinx, and Owasso
Hmm.
are communities that when I was a kid, I just thought they were total other cities and really
Right.
small. We played them in football. That's like kind of all I would
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But today, I mean, they're big, thriving communities with their
Huge.
own industry sectors, and
Yep.
regularly, if I'm looking through the sold list, I'm seeing 1.5 million, 1.3
Yep.
million, 1.4 million. I'm like, wow, who is buying all these homes in Owasso and Bixby and such? But
People
lots
really
of
like
folks.
Owasso. It's wild. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I,
And that's
since,
probably the key thing for anybody looking for a home is just go to the communities, whether it's Tulsa, Oklahoma
yeah.
City, or Owasso, or go there, feel it,
Mhm.
spend time not necessarily living there, but just you could do some long weekend explorations if you're looking
Yep.
to move to one of those towns, and see what fits you.
Yeah. That's what I tell people too. It's so important to like get the feel of it. And because I help as much as I can. I know you do too. Like I help as much as I can asking like what you like to do and how far you want to be from things, but I can't make the decision for you.
Yeah,
So,
right. I can tell Chat GPT to play songs that I like, but unless I tell Chat GPT every single song I like, how's it going to know?
yeah.
Right. So
Mhm.
you just have to go there and do it for yourself.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really important, especially I mean, to me there's less information about Oklahoma and the things that are going on out there than in some other places just because it's still the Wild West a little bit,
Mm, yeah.
you know? Um
Flyover country.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like we're trying, but man, There's
Well,
just
I
not.
think I'm sure y'all have experienced it too, but there's I think a real growing appetite for that. I think a lot, both, we've heard about the big California exodus, but
Mm,
I think that's happening with a lot of cities where people are just getting kind of tired of big city living, and with the increasing
yeah.
um, climate of remote workers and entrepreneurs and things like that, the choice to be able to live where you want is more reasonable than ever. So then you start
Yeah.
going, well, what's affordable? What fits me?
Yep.
And then you just go live there and make your work happen. And that's what I was able to do.
Yep.
I was felt so ingrained in Austin. I just thought, gosh, how am I going to go restart a career and everything? But
Mm,
Tulsa just fit like a old, warm, comfortable glove.
mm-hmm.
And coming back here, getting plugged into a welcoming community,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen my business just take off, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Yep.
I think others are finding that same thing.
Yeah. Can see that for sure. So, you talked about remote work in Tulsa. So Tulsa's pretty famous for their remote work program. Do you know people that have been through that?
I do, and I've helped some people. I have not, I can't believe I haven't actually done the official certification, but I've still got that. You can go through, and you don't have to, if you go through the Tulsa Remote Program, you can still pick any realtor you want to work with. But if you go get their certification,
Mm.
they'll kind of spoon feed you people that are going, hey, these people are coming out of the program. Maybe you can help them
John,
buy
what
a
are you
house. I know.
doing?
Well, I've been busy. I'm careful to not put more on my plate than I can handle. I was so busy in Austin. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah,
I
I
like
understand.
being
I
busy,
understand.
but not crazy. I know, but I need to
Gotcha.
do that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, you do. That's funny.
but
Okay.
but yeah, that's been really a successful program. And for those who are watching who don't know, basically Tulsa will pay you $10,000 to move here
Mm-hmm.
if you already have a remote based job, and then you can just work from wherever. Well, Tulsa will give you 10 grand. And then it's kind of cool. It's not just here, let us write you a check, but they plug you in with all these other people that are moving here. You kind of
Mm.
have an instant community,
Oh, that's
a lot of
cool.
networking.
Okay.
And so one of my Tulsa remote workers who I sold his first home was the son of a neighbor of mine
Mm-hmm.
who, I think he was living in Kansas somewhere, working for a company out of Iowa or Illinois, building highways all over the country. He's an
Okay.
engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I helped him find his first home. Well, he had a great experience, and he's been referring some of his other Tulsa remote friends through that. So that's how it
Yeah,
kind of got
nice.
on the radar of some of those folks.
Yeah, it's good. And it's cool to be able to connect with people who like want to live in Tulsa. Cause I mean, like, to me, $10,000 is a lot of money, but it's also not. Like, you really have to want to move to Tulsa, right?
Yeah. Well, and you have a lower cost of living.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I'm living in Chicago and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going, geez, man, $300 a week for groceries is breaking my back.
Yep.
Well, our grocery costs may be the same here, but everything else is so much cheaper. It makes the
Mm.
groceries more affordable.
Yes. Yeah. Our groceries definitely are the same.
Yeah.
But
Anywhere
yeah,
you
other things
go,
are cheap.
it's expensive. Yeah.
Usually it's the utility bills. That's the first thing people talk about with me is how cheap
Right.
our utilities are.
Yes, for sure.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Austin, everything just got an Austin tax on it.
mm-hmm.
And so, I was making such ridiculous money down there selling big equipment for so long that
Yeah.
you almost don't think about it. But then when you're out of it, you go, gee, man, all that money I could have been saving, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite there, but I'm almost back on my Austin level of income again, but I
Mm-hmm.
have Tulsa expenses.
Oh,
And so
nice.
that's it's
Nice.
a great spot to
It's
be.
a great spot. I mean, that's kind of how I feel with like we went to Las Vegas 3 weeks ago, and I hadn't really been before. I don't prefer it, but we saw, a concert. And so, but everything was so expensive. And
Yeah.
I get that they're kind of, most people that come to Las Vegas are from Hawaii or California. And so they're used to like higher prices. Well, I am not used to higher prices
Hmm.
like, at all.
Yeah. You just got to go blow it like $500 on a table, and then you get all those drinks for free.
Oh, no, 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 no. That gives me a stomach ache.
Oh,
It's not
yeah,
gonna work for me.
I'm not much of a gamer either.
No. No.
Did you go to the what's the Sphere? Did you go to the Sphere?
We did. We went to see Backstreet
Oh,
Boys at the Sphere. Yeah.
wow.
It was
Handsome is a hell of a husband. That's really cool.
Oh, he was the one that wanted to go. It wasn't
Oh my
me.
gosh. Ah! Okay, well, listen, a different generation, I think, is the thing. I'm like been eyeing it to go see Dead and Company.
Yes, there was a guy in the elevator that had seen Dead and Company, and it was like, what, a 4-hour show? Oh, I hate
Yeah,
listening to Grateful Dead because of that. I'm like, why is the song 20 minutes?
yeah, yes. It's a long, strange trip.
It's long. It's long. Something I've heard before, and I have thoughts about it, but I want to hear your thoughts if you've heard this, or if you haven't, then let's hear your thoughts. People compare Tulsa to Dallas and Oklahoma City to Houston.
Hmm. That's an interesting comparison. I mean, I see the Oklahoma City Houston connection because it is spread out,
Mm-hmm.
lot of districts,
Yep.
very similar kind of thing. Um, Tulsa, not probably just because I lived there and I was born in Dallas. Dallas has gotten so enormous. Now Dallas isn't Dallas anymore. It's Dallas Fort Worth. That is all one giant metroplex. And I don't think Tulsa's like that. I get like, Tulsa's kind of maybe, I'm going to get in trouble if anyone I know is watching this, but it can
That's
have
fine.
kind of an old money snob kind of a thing
Tulsa
going on
definitely
about it.
has an old money snob feeling.
Yeah.
Every time.
So
Every time.
that's the Tulsa Dallas connection I can see. But it's also kind of a laid back artsy community, lots
Mm,
of living full time working musicians and artists that live here,
hmm.
and you can live a really comfortable lifestyle like that too.
Yep.
And that's how Austin used to be. And ironically, now all the cool musicians that everybody thinks of Austin, they've all moved out of town. They're not living
Oh,
in
yeah.
Austin anymore. They're living
Yeah.
in Smithville and such like that. And they're
Hmm.
making the haul into Austin because they can't afford it anymore.
Yeah. I don't know who can afford it. I mean, I have a cousin who lives in Austin, and I'm like, I don't know how he affords it. So, yeah.
You learn to
Yeah.
cut coupons and shop at Aldi's.
Yeah. And Airbnb your home in the summer.
Yes, I know tons of my friends that Airbnb there, like for South by Southwest or for
Yep.
the ACL festival. They'll just take
Hmm.
off. They'll go stay with a friend or they'll leave town and they can rent their home for a weekend for like $10,000 or something crazy
Yeah.
like that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't quite agree with that comparison either. Like comparing Tulsa to Dallas. In my mind, Tulsa is more closely associated to Chicago than to Dallas.
Yes, that I see that connection,
Hmm.
both architecturally and
Yep.
culturally.
Yep.
Real
For
similar
sure.
kind of vibe,
Yeah.
music oriented, his history oriented, all of
Hmm.
that.
Yeah. Even with like the way that we speak, like the way that
Mhm.
Tulsans speak versus, because I don't know how much time you spent in Oklahoma City or anywhere south, but these people speak like Southerners. And that is not, it
Right.
is.
Well, so I mentioned my whole family's from Dallas and my two sisters. Okay, so another part of our family is from Mississippi, and they
Oh,
somehow got that Mississippi Southern draw that I only get if I'm on the phone with them.
yep.
I don't speak with that way. But like I mentioned, I've traveled a lot, and I think somewhere over the years I've just kind of lost the accent. Although my best friend from the Peace Corps used to say he would go, "Man, you are such a hick," and I'm like, "I am not a hick. What are you talking? Listen to yourself."
Like,
He's
I
from
can't
Eugene.
hear it.
I don't hear it. Yeah, he's from Eugene, Oregon, so he's sophisticated.
Oh, yeah. Like, yes. One of the comments I had this week, someone asked me what happened to my accent. And I was like, well, many things, but you have to enunciate when you're on YouTube. I feel like
Good point. And travel, and YouTube pronunciations.
travel,
Yes.
YouTube, learning languages, having that Okie accent beat out of you in Arabic class, that will do it.
I speak a little Arabic.
Ugh.
There's no translation for y'all. That's universal.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely universal for sure. All right. So if anyone's trying to decide, we kind of talked about like visiting different areas, but if someone's trying to decide between Tulsa and Oklahoma City, because this is a common thing, right?
Mhm.
What would be your top three pieces of advice?
Well, we nailed one of them already, which is go spend a week or a weekend
Mm,
there. Go travel to both. Check
mm-hmm,
them out.
mm-hmm.
Assuming you can work from wherever you want, and then assuming you can work from wherever you want. Well, Tulsa's already going to give you 10 grand, so we've got to step up there. um, and I think in short, I would say it's Tulsa feels more small towny than Oklahoma City feels more cosmopolitan. So
Mm,
sometimes there's a certain person that's just kind of drawn to one or the other kind of
yep.
vibe. Tulsa feels like a little town that just got bigger and bigger, but
Mm,
it's kind of retained that vibe. And Oklahoma City just feels like a big city.
interesting. Okay. Yeah.
That's my outsider view on it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's totally valid. Um, I mean,
But
I
I'd say
didn't,
go there is at the heart of all that.
yeah, going there is, and it's so much easier now with GPS. Like whenever, whenever I first moved to Norman, like I didn't leave campus ever.
Yeah,
I didn't know things existed outside of campus. And now,
right.
um, exploring, getting to see places. Like I have lists and lists on Google Maps that I just send to people like go hit all of these places. Like if you're close, just go in, see what you think. This is the vibe that you're going to get because you got to have some direction. I
Where would you
always
direct them? What would you send someone to if they were like, what's your short list of things in Oklahoma City? You go, oh man, you're coming here. Go check this, and this.
Yeah. So like the Oklahoma City Bombing Memorial, one of the best
Mm.
museums in the entire country. So good. I would have you go to the First People Museum, the Native American Museum
Oh
that we have.
yeah,
It's
that's great.
so good. And it's a really cool design. Like
It is.
it's super cool. And then, you know, like I would say walking around downtown, going to Bricktown. Bricktown is I don't go to Bricktown because I don't like the touristy vibe of it. But that's where you feel the energy of the city
Hmm.
because people love the baseball games, they love the basketball games, they love going to concerts and our park, which you guys have the gathering place, which is way better than ours, but not every city can have a gathering place. Ours is
Well,
Scissor Tail Park.
well, and the gathering place is cool. It's really kid centric.
It
We're
is.
we're we're not a kid family.
Right.
We're a dog family, and so that's the only thing when we go there. We're always like, I wish they would do like an adult only night because we want to come get on those swings, but there's always like kids, and I want to get off that swing, little boy. I'm gonna take it from you. I think I'll lose my license or something if I do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that is the only thing about the gathering place for folks that come here. It's really an amazing park,
Hmm.
especially if you have kiddos.
Yeah.
Um, there's a river? Is there a river in Oklahoma City as well?
Yeah. Yeah. The Oklahoma
Yeah,
River. Yeah. Which
and
is the
and is that
Colorado.
okay? And so can you get out on it like kayak and stuff like that?
Yes. So we are having the LA Olympics is the kayaking is going to be here. I think it's the kayaking.
Wow! Oh,
Yeah.
that's super cool.
I know. It's really cool. You can go whitewater rafting as well. Not on the river, but on their little made up whitewater rafting. I've been a few times. Um, I'm getting a little old, so things hurt when I fall out. And man, those 20-year-olds will make you fall out of that boat.
Mhm, mhm. It doesn't get better, Marcy. I'm
No,
gonna warn
it
you.
doesn't. Like my neck hurt for 6 months. Like I just can't do this. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah. Then we have there's like a surfing thing. So the river's really nice now. It used to be really terrible. I'm looking forward to something happening with the stockyards. Our stockyards are cool, but just like kind of run down, not a ton down there. And I'm just really hoping that that changes because that's one of the districts like it feels like no one's touched.
Yeah, kind of like the Fort Worth stockyards.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's a
exactly.
really cool area there.
Yeah, because Oklahoma City is a cow town.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
play on that. Well, and you mentioned also the Cowboy Hall of Fame. That's another
Oh
great
yeah. Yeah.
museum that's down there that I
It's a
really like.
cool one. Mm-hmm. But what about for Tulsa? Like when someone's visiting you, which I'm sure happens a lot, where do you take them?
We have some world-class food. We recently had a James Beard chef for the best baker in America lives here. Had the
That's where
gosh,
I
what's the name?
was the other night
Oh, really?
when
Oh,
I
that's
went.
awesome.
My parents were
Yes.
like, "This is the best food ever!" Like, yeah, it's so
It
good.
is. So we've got the bakery. We also have other nominees. There's the Farm Bar, which is in that Sobo
Mm-hmm.
district, which is
Yep.
by me. And those same chefs have a restaurant downtown called Il Seme, which is
Yep. That's the one we were at.
Italian.
Yep.
That is one of my wife and I's favorite
It was
restaurants.
so
The
good.
design is gorgeous. The
Yeah.
food is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's so romantic, and that's a really
Mm-hmm.
neat old Art Deco building called the Pythian Building that's
Okay.
in.
Yeah.
And um, yeah, food. East Side Bohemian Pizza is
That
a
one's fun.
staple.
Yeah.
And that's owned by a deadhead buddy of mine.
Oh.
And so that, and then, we have great museums as well. Of course, we've
Yeah.
got the Bob Dylan Center and the Woody
Mm-hmm.
Guthrie Center,
Mm-hmm.
which are great. I always have a membership to the Philbrook.
Oh, it's so good. I
There's
love it.
always fun
Yep.
stuff going on there. They had this great exhibit this summer where they had like 15th and 16th century samurai
Yeah.
outfits and the helmets, and oh
Mm-hmm.
man, it was just
We went to
incredible. And
see it. Yeah. It
oh,
was
you
cool.
did, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we really enjoyed that. And there's always a fun rotating thing, but even the standard, I hate to call it the standard, but they're what do you call it? Their main exhibits that are always
Yeah.
there
They're
are
really
great.
good.
You can go many
Mm-hmm.
times, and it's in a home that was Wade Phillips' home. This beautiful
Right.
Italian Renaissance villa, and he just gifted it to the city of Tulsa
And the
as a
neighborhood
museum.
itself is so
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. There's some big old fancy homes over there.
There are, yes.
Yeah,
They're
you want to
cool.
be in walking distance to Philbrook. You've done good.
Yep, really well. Good. Okay. Well, that's a good list for sure. I mean, I have Tulsa lists as well, just because from going so much, but I think it's a really cool town. I never wanted to move back because it was a little close for me to my
Right.
hometown.
Hmm.
And I really love Norman. Like Norman's my home now. So we were to be here for 18 years, but it's just a cool place. And it's cool to see our cities grow in the way that they have and become places that people want to live and not just like grow up and then move to Dallas. You
Well,
know?
and sometimes when you're younger, there's that mindset, I just want to get away from home. And I
Yeah.
get that. Nothing will make you appreciate where you were than going somewhere else. You get a different
Mhm.
perspective on it,
Mhm.
But where in Austin it grew so exponentially fast. You said 500,000 in
Yeah.
96 to 2.3 now. That
Right.
tells you what it was like. It was just so insane. In
Yeah.
Tulsa,
Yeah.
people ask me all the time. So this is an idea too, as an investment,
Mm.
as people
Mm.
look at the Tulsa. You can count on Tulsa to produce 3 to 5% of growth in
Yeah.
equity in your home year in and year out.
Absolutely.
Booming year, dead year. It's just
It doesn't
steady
matter.
and
Yeah.
moving forward. And
Yep.
that's kind of what a lot of investors want. They don't Nice big spikes are great, but when you got nice big spikes, you're also going to get going
The
the
big
other direction
drops.
too.
I know.
And my
And
friends in
that's what
Austin are
Austin's
feeling
going
that.
through right now. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. The home that I sold I had 12 homes when I lived in Austin, and
Mhm.
I regret daily. So anyone listening to this for some real estate advice, that I sold them all. I sold one to go buy the next one and,
Yeah.
leapfrog like a lot of people do. But if
Yeah.
I still own 12 homes in Austin,
Oh,
oh boy.
you wouldn't have to be
That
real estating.
no, I wouldn't have to be doing anything. And
Right.
so buy real estate and hold real estate and
Yes.
buy where it's affordable. My
Yeah.
moniker up here is Mother Road Real Estate. I'm with Keller Williams,
Mhm.
but I go by Mother Road Real Estate because my first home in Tulsa was at 13th and Gary, right off 11th Street, which is the old Route 66, and all through town, all the way up to Claremore,
Hmm.
and beyond is that Route 66. And I don't care if you live on the north or south side of it, all the way through town. It's just great little homes that were built 80 to 100 years ago. They're very affordable. They're adorable. You're walking distance to some great stuff.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so that's an area that I really target with a lot of my clients.
Yeah. I understand for sure. Yep. It's a good spot. Cool. Well, this was fun. Thank you so much. We may have to
Yeah.
have this conversation or something like it again. So,
At Ilse de
yeah.
May.
Oh my gosh, that would be so great. And
You and
yeah,
Handsome, give us a
really should
buzz next
plan
time
that.
you come up. I love
Yeah,
that.
I will. I will.
I want
That'll
to
be
hear about
fun.
more of your travels. I watch your real estate videos, but then I also read all
Mm.
your traveling stuff, and I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, we need to get together. I know. I think we've only met in person once. We just talk on the phone all the time.
We swap clients. We swap
Yeah,
clients.
and
Thank you.
swap clients for sure. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I will talk to you next time. I hope you have a great night.
Marcy, thanks for having me on. You have a great night too.